My ting. So, this is the Unsettled. This is my ting, apparently, according to him. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And yeah, we discuss like unsolved murders, crimes, mysteries, some weird shit. And then we give our thoughts and opinions on it while giving you a backstory so you guys can comment below and slaughter us if we say something wrong.
Which they do.
You've had your fair share of experiences with that, haven't you?
Yes.
So, in today's episode, we're going to discuss the Tinseltown murder of Thelma Todd, aka the Ice Cream Blonde.
Sweet. Got a thing for ice cream.
You've had ice cream.
I know.
This is what threw us off. This is why we're on like sugar comatose. So, as I said in today's episode, we're the Unsettled. Myself and Will will be discussing this case. And Thelma Todd is, I don't know, it's kind of up there with a lot of other murders and mysteries, and I'm sure you're going to say something irrelevant. Go ahead. Go on. He has one page. One page. And most of it is question marks. Go ahead. This is his research. This is what he does.
Question mark.
Yeah. What did you write up here?
Bonus.
I thought you put bollocks.
Close.
Do you want to say anything before I begin?
No.
Where you were going to?
I wasn't. I was just straightening up my page.
Is this a domestic?
You won in a minute. Anyway.
Check out the cock on this guy.
I haven't got a coke.
Glad you haven't. So, Thelma Todd, it is still a cold case, but the autopsy report does say that she, what?
Cold case like ice cream.
Yeah, cold case like ice cream, yes. Like I said, check out the cock on this guy.
I like ice cream. Carry on.
Right. Really unsettled, I quit. You dick! Ruins my flow. Ruins me vibe, me flow, everything. Like I said, if you're new here, subscribe. It's always banter and back and forth bollocks, basically. And if we do get some little bits wrong, feel free to correct us. And yeah, we're pretty much, we release videos every Monday or Friday, whatever days we decide. When's this one going up? You don't care, you don't know, you don't really bother. Right, stay tuned, it gets better. It doesn't. But anyway, as I was saying, it is like a cold case. The autopsy does say she killed herself, but many do not believe this, and I seem to be one of them believers. You know, like, I want to believe aliens, but there's nothing.
There's just no factual evidence, is there?
Just you wait till we do our alien special.
Oh, it's a good one.
I like my little props and stuff I use. Got an alien outfit. Right. So as I was saying, many do believe that she. What are you laughing at me, alien outfit? Fucking get out. Get out. I'll do it on my own. Go on. Right.
Alien outfit.
Today on the Unsettled. Right, go on. As I said, many do believe that it was suicide. Now, obviously, suicide is a serious matter, so if anyone is feeling suicidal, they should really seek help, find some resources, speak to someone. Just wanted to get that out there because I do want to be somewhat educational and a bit more caring to my audience. So, let's get straight into the case. Thelma Todd was a 20s to 30s actress, 1920s, 1930s. Just, you know, to have the people. Yeah. Typically being the ditzy blonde in many short films. She was born in 1906, trained to be a school teacher, but modelled on the side.
As you would do to get you through paying to become a teacher. We would hope.
Nowadays, how many female school teachers model? They're all fuck ugly. Shout out to any female school teachers, you fuck ugly. I'm kidding, isn't I? Hate me if you wish I was
dead already, mate.
It's dead, no, it's dead, it's too late then. I mean, many people just have OnlyFans now, really. You know, it is. No. But anyway, Paramount Pictures signed Todd to a 1-year contract, and then her career was in motion. Yet, as we discussed, many people, actors, especially actresses, had to look a certain way. We discussed this with the Wizard of Oz. Wizards. It's always wizards.
It's always wizards.
And she had to kind of keep a certain way and keep to a strict diet. Her first contract stated if she weighed more than so many pounds, her career would be over, and her contract would be terminated. So she was hooked on those lovely diet pills.
Oh yes, but with the Wizard of Oz, she went through hell. Whereas
Dorothy was touched up by munchkins. What more do you want? Come here, little midget. Right.
No, but she coped with it very well. She accepted the lifestyle.
Yeah. So Thelma Todd weighed 122 pounds. If she gained more than 2 or 3, her contract would be terminated. If she lost more than 6, her contract was also terminated. So it kind of seems that she's on a strict diet, but she's doing quite well with it, and she's got the brains, even though she played a ditzy blonde in short films.
Yeah.
Right, Thelma married a agent, Pat. Do you know his last name?
DeCiso.
In 1932 and 1934. It wasn't a happy marriage, and Thelma filed for a divorce. When asked why, she stated grievous mental and physical suffering.
It's
a domestic. That's what we're going to have if you carry on. She also found herself dealing with being blacklisted and dealt with many guys in the movie profession and would refuse to entertain these men who would simply offer her roles for sexual favours. Little blowy.
Yeah.
Little wet hand flick of the wrist.
5-knuckle shuffle.
She spoke about these producers openly.
That's probably why she was unliked, to be fair.
She made enemies early, and I don't know, I kind of admire that. You stick to your guns. You know, if you're a woman, you know, back then, you know, don't be like, oh, we can give you a role if you were, you know what I mean? She's like, fuck off. I like this.
No, I respect her for that.
Yeah. Most women today would just do that for fame and fortune.
They'll do that for 20 quid.
Sit on producers' faces. Yeah, if only OnlyFans was around that day. So, she did seem to have many love interests though, so maybe this is why movie producers took a chance in possibly trying to get with her and trying to, you know, they saw her out and about.
With different,
I mean, it would come across like she's easy, but theoretically she's very clever. So just keep this in mind. She might be blonde, she might be the typical ditzy blonde, but she's actually really clever.
She's not giving it away.
She's being a teacher.
She's not giving it away, but she's hiring her status by certain individuals.
I'm going to tell you something about this. She was often around men ordering her favourite drink. Guess what her favourite drink was?
If you goddamn say a porn star martini.
No, it's better than that. It's 3 fingers on the rye. Which theoretically means is measured in 3 fingers of whiskey or rum. But I think it is actually whiskey. But it's measured with fingers against a glass. There you go.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
3 fingers from the bottom.
Sounds like my type of woman. She knows how to drink.
Interesting fact, 1 finger from the bottom is a shot glass and a wine glass.
Yeah.
So it's basically 3 shots down in 1. Take me home and record a movie.
She says many countless times, many people perceived her as the dumb blonde, but she began showing more brains and beauty in her films.
Yeah.
So instead of her being ditzy, she was becoming more clever. She opened a cafe called Thelma Todd's Cafe. Coincidentally, it's not going to be anything else. Her business partner, Roland, his name comes up quite a bit. Roland West was a movie director and producer who she had been having an on and off love affair with for 3 years. He also had a wife called Jewel Carmen. So while Thelma was banging Roland at the cafe, giving customers more sugary sums in their coffee than needed, Roland was going home and banging his wife afterwards.
Yep.
Lovely love triangle. Gotta admit it. Shouldn't mix business with pleasure.
No.
No.
But the wife did know about it.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Be right back, your burger needs a bit more mayo.
Never send anything back. Never send anything back.
Not when he's in the kitchen.
What you're insisting.
Can you imagine him shouting out, Thelma, customer needs more mayo, get on your knees. This doesn't work, does it? Thelma attended the party, Throne in her honour, a popular nightclub on Hollywood's Sunset Strip. Do you know the name of the club? No, I don't know. He has all the facts. He has all the facts.
I know the restaurant.
You go there, Shane's a dick, Shane's a twat. Yeah, good.
Yes, yeah. All the facts.
All the facts. Right. I told you I might as well just carry this show. Carry on, be back. No wonder I've got backache. Right. Thelma was seen drinking, having a good time, and she also betted her friends a free dinner if they visited her. Which I think is quite weird. So it's like, oh, come and meet me at the cafe, I'll give you a free dinner. But they're your friends, so they're going to turn up anyway, right? It's not really a bet. Keep this in mind. A phone call was exchanged. Roland asked them to be home by 2 AM. He wanted her home by 2 AM. And at 1:50 AM, Roland asked the theatre manager to call him when Thelma was leaving. Regardless, Thelma stayed there till around 3:15 AM. Typical woman, never does what she's told. She was dropped off at the roadside cafe, her roadside cafe, at 3:20 AM or 3:30 AM, around that time. Sunday, her friends turned up for a free food at the cafe, but Thelma was nowhere to be seen. They got the free food though, just she wasn't there. She wasn't there. On December the 16th, for the next day, Roland's maid, May Whitehead, shut up, began her routine. She would drive Roland's car from the cafe up to his place. No, his apartment down to the cafe, even. Yeah, we'll get it right. It's roughly about 500 yards. It's not actually that far. And Thelma owned that cafe, obviously. And she lived above it. Right? While Roland lived 500 yards up the hill.
Up the hill, basically.
Yeah, it's up the hill, you know. He could keep an eye on her if he needed to. So at this point, she drove the car down, opened the garage, and to her disbelief, Thelma Todd's body was draped inside the car, head against the steering wheel. She had a broken nose, cracked ribs, and unnoticed until the body was examined, swelling, bruising in her throat. Told you they wanted more mayo with their burgers. It's a lot of mayo.
Maybe they got it.
Yeah. So blood had marked the screen. You know, like the main screen. So basically, it looked like someone had slammed their head against the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Just putting it bluntly, so blood had just marked a little bit. And she was also still wearing the evening gown. An expensive mink coat as well. Her blonde locks still perfectly array. So nothing had changed from how she looked that night she was in the club. But she was still found in the garage of Roland West, which is a bit iffy. So we are behind the desk, and I guess we're going to try and figure out what happened. So a day of not knowing if she had made it to her apartment above the cafe, a whole day unaccounted for. Got any thoughts so far?
Not really.
What is this? This is the most butchered version of the Unsettled. You have nothing so far. I mean, her body is draped over the steering wheel, her hair perfectly fine, her dress, her mink coat, broken nose, broken ribs, swollen throat. You have nothing. Right. Just a one-man band.
Go on, play your trumpet.
Blowing up. Right, so my first thought, not his, because it's not screwed on today.
No.
It's not. Is a coroner's report of her death, in which they classed it as suicide by monoxide poisoning.
Yes.
Yet that doesn't show a count of the broken nose or broken ribs or the bruising of her throat.
Nope.
Unless you rule out suicide, put murder there and put these, I don't know, pieces together. Right? It's believed she got dropped at the cafe, couldn't get in due to not having keys, walked to Roland West's house, couldn't get in, went in through the garage, turned the car on to stay warm, then died of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Okay. So to that, I would add that Roland West and her had a mini argument about the time that she is supposed to get home.
Honestly, this woman. You tell her a time,
so
6 hours later she turns
arguing with her. Or he was arguing with her and said, "That's it. If you're not home by this point, I'm locking you out."
And he did lock her out.
And he did.
And she managed to get into his apartment by breaking the window.
Yeah.
So theoretically, she wouldn't need to go in the garage and start the car unless she didn't want to piss him off anymore.
No.
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand she wouldn't want to piss him off or break a window. You could also understand her turning the car on to keep warm, but you'd also open the garage door to stop the fumes coming into the car.
You would expect.
She's not stupid.
No.
She was a teacher.
But she's had God knows how many bloody three-shot whiskies.
May I also... 3 fingers. And may I also add...
Right up your right.
And may I also add, she was a car enthusiast, so she knew that she would get carbon monoxide poisoning from this.
Yeah, but when you're pissed, you don't really use all your faculties in your head.
I would think that way, and I've been in worse estates than her. Right, they said her death was 5 AM Sunday morning, right? 70% of monoxide poisoning was allegedly in her blood. Right. She knew a lot about cars, as I said, and the use of knowing about carbon monoxide poisoning, she wasn't thick or ditzy like she had played on this big screen. Even though the broken nose could have happened by her collapsing at the wheel, doesn't account for the broken ribs though.
No.
Okay?
No, I'll give you that.
Okay. Also, she would have had to walk up the hill, 500 plus yards to Rowland's at night in hills in rain. Her heels had no markings of stones on them, as they would have done. Because you're walking up a hill in hills, it would have pebbles, markings. There was nothing, right? Her hair, perfectly fine, and it had rained that night, so her hair was dry.
Right, so she was obviously in the car before all this happened.
Right, so what are you thinking so far? Her hair wasn't damp or a mess, and her heels hadn't been damaged by the pebbly road that would lead up to Rowland's.
Right. But that's where she was found.
Yes, but I'm just ruling this out for you, okay? I'm ruling the fact that she didn't walk to Rowland's.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Because she would have been wet as well.
True.
Okay.
If it had rained.
It did
before.
rain. And also the right. Her hair was exactly the same as it was at the party. 1920s hair, 1930s stiff.
Yeah.
Stiff hairstyle.
Yeah, but it would do.
Rain would fuck it up. It's hairspray.
Not necessarily. Yeah. The rain would mess it up, but if it had rained when she had just got into the garage, she wouldn't have been in the fucking rain, would she? And you can take your heels off and walk up the hill.
Her hair being perfect doesn't add up. Right. Roland thinks Thelma's actions was out of character. She had been locked out before, as you said, and never slept in her car or the garage ever. Roland said she had woken him up before when locked out, so he doesn't understand why she didn't wake him up. As you stated, she broke a window to get Roland's attention before. He says it's really suspicious. Why she wouldn't? Or she'd bang on the door. One person seemed surprised by her death, who was Thelma's friend, Martha Ford.
Oh, no, it's not.
What? She said she received a phone call on Sunday from Thelma saying, "We are still coming to the party. I have a surprise guest." Right, no, I'm just saying. Also, I went to a party last night and I'm still wearing my dress. Do you mind?
Okay.
I'm just throwing this out there.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm
This was Sunday. This was Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. 11 hours after the coroner pegged the time of death.
Okay.
So what do you think so far?
Not a lot.
Okay. She said, I have known Thelma for years. It was definitely her on the phone. So the plot kind of thickens a bit.
Okay.
Right, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Thelma's autopsy shows peas and carrots in her stomach. None had been served at the party on the Friday. Why would you eat peas and carrots anyway, as a meal?
You've got to keep your weight down.
You've just fucking taken a shit ton of alcohol. I don't think it really matters. This was back when she first had her contract, though.
Exactly.
This isn't now. Now she's like famous.
And dead. Famously dead.
Peas and carrots. How's that? How's that your last meal? But either way, the autopsy said it was starting to digest, which to me says she may have been picked up after she was dropped off at the cafe. Your last meal was peas and carrots, though. Rather shit. Just a bit. Like, even people on death row are better than peas and carrots. Just alright. Right, her purse contained lipstick, a handkerchief, cigarettes, and a cigarette, container.
Yeah.
A small purse which contained a key to the side door of her apartment building of the cafe.
Okay.
So she could have got in.
She could have got into.
So it's clear, someone fucking killed her.
Obviously.
Not gonna lie. It's true.
It's true.
Even though the coroner's report is shit. You don't just... No. So that's so many factors that don't add up. We're now going to do a proper investigation, something the authorities didn't do. And this is where I'm going to surprise you a little bit.
Okay.
So, first of all, I reckon someone paid the coroner.
Okay.
It's shifty dealings, mate. 1920s.
Elaborate.
Someone paid the coroner to say it was suicide.
Okay. To keep them quiet.
Yeah, because it is
it's a high profile case.
But no way is it suicide.
No. No, but you know what I mean. It's a high profile case. It's like
right. So is it possible she killed herself on purpose? Think about it. She had the key. She decided to kill herself in Roland's garage. Her chauffeur said she was very upset as they drove her home. Apparently she received an upsetting message on the night of the party, yet her actions showed no self-destructive behaviour at the time of her death, so that's rather odd in itself. So at the party she received an upsetting call. Fair enough. She carried on the night. She then allegedly made a call to Martha Ford on the Saturday to say that she is still going...
On the Sunday?
Yeah. And she's bringing a guest, and do you mind if I turn up wearing a dress? I went to a party last night. So she's still wearing the same dress, and she's been out with a man. So is it possible she could have got picked up at the cafe when her chauffeur dropped her off?
Not at that early a time in the morning, I wouldn't have thought.
Don't know, mate. Night's young. You're a celebrity. You stay out till 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm a celebrity. I stay out till 7 o'clock in the morning. I stay awake till 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's different.
I don't go out.
No, that's different.
I just look up murders.
Yeah. In a dark room. A dimly lit light in the corner.
With my suit on. Praying I was DB Cooper. Right. So she had an amazing cafe, which worked wonders. Right? Her movie career was phenomenal. Right? She had presents in the trunk of her car for her friends and family, as this is Christmas time, December. Yeah. She comes across as a woman who doesn't care for such petty things like me and you would. Like depression wouldn't really matter to her at this point. She's got everything going for her. Yeah. Right?
No, all of her friends do say that she was in good health. And
apparently she was also romantically involved with a new man in San Francisco.
Oh, yes.
I was about to say, look how neatly I wrote San Francisco. That don't even look like mine, does it?
No, that is very neat.
Do you know what that is?
You must have woke up at that point.
No, do you know what that is? Hand cramp.
Yeah.
I can write better when I'm crippled. Alright. But no one knows what's going on inside someone's head.
No.
So she could have been. Why are you laughing at the fact that I write better when I'm crippled? I've given this enough. Upsets me, mate. What? Fuck it. Right. Pretty much had the whole world at her fingertips. So this is why it doesn't make sense for someone to commit suicide at this point. But you know, she could still be miserable.
She could have still been. I would like to add a week after, like all of this had happened, her mum did post in an interview that Thelma had been diagnosed with a weak heart.
Okay.
Now this could have been the distressing phone call.
Could have been. Could have been she got told about her weak heart.
Yeah.
Could have led to a heart attack.
It could have done. We don't.
We don't heart failure. But the coroner clearly said it was suicide.
Yes, but that it's the easiest jump.
Someone paid him off, didn't they?
We just don't know.
So one of my thoughts was she got dropped off by the chauffeur.
Right.
At 3:30 a.m. And my thought was she wasn't killed by a stranger or a mugger.
Yeah.
Because she still had all her jewellery on her and money.
True.
And if it was just a random stranger,
they would have taken it.
They would have taken everything. Yeah. And they would have took the key and took the cars and took all the house, right?
All of what they needed to.
So, some of our suspects.
Right.
I like how I'm running this case. And you're like, is this good for you?
Yep.
Do you need this?
Yep.
Just wondering. Right. So Roland West, her love triangle lover, right? It was in his garage.
It was in his wife's garage. Because Roland wasn't on the lease.
Okay. Roland was a jealous man. Angry at times. Protective.
And this is coming from Joel Carmen.
Possibly, Roland knew about the new man in San Francisco. Right? So he possibly killed her. Then again, I don't know about this one. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They have a business, but I don't see anything going further than that.
They are business partners.
Right,
So
on Roland's deathbed, he said and claimed he was responsible for Thelma's death. He said he accidentally locked her in the garage, yet his recollection of events didn't make sense.
Which it wouldn't do
if you're old and dying. But apparently he locked her in the garage. Does that sound believable to you? Considering he didn't even know that she made it home and didn't even know that she parked there.
No, unless he locked everything up, thinking that obviously.
Okay, so it could have been an accident.
It could have been.
She could have fell asleep and actually died of carbon monoxide poisoning, and there's no point of doing the Unsettled anymore. But no, it could have happened.
No, it could have happened.
It could have happened.
Plausible.
Right. Joel Carmen.
Right.
Roland's wife. She did say she would kill her, but not for the whole threesome. Hey, I'm sharing your lover. Hey, we're in a love triangle, and as she approved of this, and she didn't mind. Oh, a wonderful lady. But she threatened her over money due to the cafe. As they were all three were business partners. But there's no motive or no reason other than the fact she believed that she put some money in her back pocket. And it was just an argument said out of frustration of like, I'm going to kill you unless you give me my money back. So it wasn't necessarily a...
No, it wasn't a proper threat.
No.
It was said out of anger rather
So, the last suspect, well I say second to last suspect, is her first husband, Pat. Right? He claimed and is an agent with the underworld and has connections.
He has connections.
And he's an agent of the underworld.
Yes.
That's going to be my bio.
Agent of the underworld.
Agent of the underworld. What's yours? Goblin of the upworld.
Goblin of the upworld.
There you go. Right, so many at the nightclub saw Thelma and Pat arguing, and they had a war of words.
Yeah, they did have an argument.
Tension and heated arguments took place.
Right. And that was at the Triscado restaurant.
Pat was called in and didn't know about Thelma's death and knew nothing about it, but he has connections. So he could have said to anyone he knew, I want her dead soon, and they just done it without telling him.
Yeah,
Yeah?
To impress him somehow.
He was heavy-handed, as we know by the divorce. Also, in her will, if she was to die, Pat would only receive $1. So he would gain nothing from the death.
No.
So there's no money to be made.
There's no money motive.
And he never said he'd kill her.
No.
So
it was just an
no
unpleasant argument at this certain restaurant, and then they both left different ways, and she went off to the party and God knows else what.
So, next suspect is a mobster.
Oh yes.
He had put a hit on Thelma in 1935.
Yep.
Thelma received a ton of letters threatening her life if she didn't pay $10,000, signed by the Ace of Hearts. Such a shit name for a mobster. Not gonna lie.
I would have done Ace of Spades or something.
Anyone in the mafia, contact me, tell me what your cool name. What would you say old don't? What did you say old don't for?
What?
You went old don't.
No, I didn't.
Right, anyone in the mafia, worldwide, contact me, tell me what your mafia name is, and tell me...
Tell you what?
Just tell me which you use.
You want to swim with the fishes.
Just tell me which you use the Ace of Hearts as a name. I want to be in the mafia.
They'll kind of blow themselves out of the water if they then go, actually, yeah, I'm just going to type in, yeah, my name is...
Do you reckon I've probably got a hit on me now?
Yeah, probably. No, they just know that as soon as they go, yeah, my name is...
Then they probably
They know about...
Then they probably suck gun cock for a living, because that's all they do.
Oh, now you've got a hit.
No, I don't give a fuck. Mafia, come at me.
I'm out of this.
So, the suspect was actually arrested in 1935 and the letters kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Yet, Thelma, found dead 4 months later, said it was...
Maybe the hit was still alive?
Maybe.
Like, yeah, okay, they got the person, but it doesn't end
I'm
the
still
hit.
going with the Ace of Hearts.
The Ace of
Mafia.
Off with his head!
Mafia, come at me. If someone sent me
Here comes the royals.
I would like to say, if Ace of Hearts sent me a letter or threatening me at all, I would laugh and I'd tell him my name is William.
I just want to see the King and Queen of Hearts.
But do you know what it was over? It was only over the fact that the mob boss wanted a casino above the cafe, but Thelma refused due to the customers it would bring.
Yeah.
That's all it was. So she was 20...
As you said, she was smart.
Yeah. So she was 29 years old at the time of her...
Untimely carbon monoxide poisoning. Someone running a car.
No, I'm just gonna... Wait. As you keep coughing... Just gonna make sure I'm protected.
If history's taught us anything, that doesn't help.
Mob bosses come at me.
At the moment, he's getting carbon dioxide poisoning.
You don't know this race. They only like me when the mask is on. But when the mask comes off, they hate me. Right. So, my thought was she was supposed to be picked up after the nightclub. This guest she spoke about on the phone, right, is of the new lover from San Francisco type of thing.
Okay.
This is her surprise guest,
Right.
to Martha Ford.
Okay.
If this phone call took place, which, you know, we're only going on... They're all dead now.
We're only going on a hearsay.
Yeah. So I reckon this is possibly what happened. So I reckon he wanted her to move away to San Francisco.
Okay.
Build a better life over there, maybe. Leave Roland. That was something I was thinking, like leave the whole love triangle.
Okay.
Right. She refused. He then proceeded to argue with her until it got heated. This is her new lover in San Francisco.
Right.
Not Roland, right? He broke her nose, knocked her out, punched her, winded her, broke a few ribs, possibly, or smashed her head off the steering wheel. Right? Knocked her out, like I said, did all this. Took her up to the garage of Roland's. Drove her.
Or maybe it happened there. Maybe she run up there to get away from him.
In heels.
As I
Without
said,
getting messy hair. You can take them off. Can't take the wig off. Yeah, you can. You can't take her hair off.
Can't take the wig off.
But I reckon this is my thought process, right?
Okay.
So my thought process is the guy from San Francisco wanted her to move away.
Yep.
Ditch Roland.
Yep.
Sell the cafe.
Okay.
Start a new movie career.
Not gonna happen.
Exactly. Right? I'm just saying. So he took her up to Roland's garage after he knocked her out. He smashed the head off the steering wheel.
How would he know then to take her up there?
Because she'd obviously been up there before.
Yeah, but he hadn't.
How do you know?
You wouldn't think.
How do you know? You don't know what lovers talk about. Either way, I reckon this is what happened. Got into Roland's garage. They drove up there, not walked.
Okay.
Hence why she wasn't hair wet, heel was fine, and she was in the car.
Right.
Knocked her out the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Took her up the hill.
Okay.
In the car.
Right.
Right. You with me? Rigged the car up with a tube, as most people would with carbon monoxide poisoning. You with me? Proceeded to shove it down her throat, hence bruising.
Right.
Right. She awoke. He smashed her head yet again off the steering wheel, possibly. Or
Plausible.
Yeah.
Plausible.
She awoke to the old tube down her throat, hence the bruising. Yeah. Broken nose, broken ribs, funneled down the throat. Killed her that way while maybe asking her to move away or ditch Roland as the car. You know, filled up with petrol, you get out there. But the other suspicious thing was the car that she was put in still had a full tank of petrol and the key was obviously been turned off on the engine. So whoever had turned it on, allegedly, whether it was fixed or not, or set up that way, because at the moment it's looking like she did it herself, turned the car on,
Yeah, so you can get warmth or whatever with a shut garage.
So someone would have had to turn the engine off, lock the garage up. I reckon this guy did it.
I still think it's a weak heart, but then that doesn't explain.
Then the guy drives back to San Francisco and hopes Roland gets arrested for it. So that way he's fucked two people and won it.
I think he might be onto something actually.
Boom.
But like, as
You
I
think
said,
I'm onto something?
I went round the weak heart route, but that wouldn't explain the bruising. I wouldn't have thought.
You reckon I'm onto something?
I reckon he might be onto something.
I'm onto something. So if we were to just go over the story once more, she met the guy after the cafe. Didn't tell Roland. He wanted her home. So she ended up late. Met the guy. I don't know whether peas and carrots come in. Fuck that. I don't know.
Maybe he shared a light lunch.
Maybe she shared peas and carrots out of a tin with him. I reckon there was a dispute. He wanted her to leave Roland, go back with him to San Francisco.
Things got ugly.
It didn't happen. So he smashed the head off the steering wheel. Knocked her unconscious. Maybe punched her before doing so. Then put the tube down her throat. Rigged it up to a car that he was using, therefore not her car or Roland's car. So he was outside the garage with the tube, turned his own engine on, flooded her body with carbon monoxide poisoning. He then undid the tube, turned the engine off on her car to make it look a bit more like suicide, just in case Roland didn't get done for it. He then locked the garage up with the key that was already there, and then drove to San Francisco.
But how did he get out?
With the door. Like most people get out of places, with a door. Alright, there's a couple of flaws in my story, right? But, like,
So from a sealed garage, he then drove back to San Francisco.
it wasn't sealed. He put it in Roland's car. After,
Maybe it was an auto-locking system.
maybe a sensor. But he put her in Roland's car with the tube down her throat while she was unconscious. Used his own car, therefore this explains why the car that she was in was full of petrol. Flooded her lungs with carbon monoxide poisoning. Bing bang bong. Roland gets done for it eventually. Or that would have been the ploy. Get Roland fucked because he recently found out, you know, she's in a freeway. Maybe this guy was possessive. Maybe he just wanted her for himself. No, I'm not a detective. I'm just throwing this out there. She wouldn't have bruising around her throat for no reason.
True. And it's on the inside of her.
Yes, not outside.
Not
Not outside. I reckon he used his own car to flood her body with carbon monoxide poisoning after he knocked her out, after he told her to go to San Francisco. She said no, so he did the whole deed to get Roland arrested, which never actually happened. Her murder has gone down as suicide. He goes back to San Francisco, tells his kids he fucked Thelma Todd, the ice cream blonde, and this is the unsettled. That's my plan. How do you feel about that? Is that good?
Very highly plausible. Very highly plausible.
Makes sense.
It does make sense.
And she did say she had a guest. And she did answer the phone to Martha for it. And she said she was still wearing the dress that she was in at the nightclub.
Yeah.
Because she hadn't slept. Because she was up all night banging the San Francisco chapel.
Maybe.
And like I said, Mafia come at me. And him. He's not scared of the Mafia.
This has been an interesting case and a very interesting video.
I'm going to be awake all night now. Stay tuned, we have a special coming for you. Whether it be in this place, or my new place, or with the lovely red wall, or maybe not with the red wall. It could be a white wall, it could be a green wall, it could be a purple wall. Either way, it's going to be a special episode. He's actually going to do research rather than a page.
Yeah, I will do.
Let's just have a look at this. West Side Death was determined to discover the North Side Poison previously West Side locked. Maybe it was her gang of friends sending messages that no one seizes him at the divorce. You what? A suspect heart condition which would fix the donut to lover's lip. Lover lip!
Catch you on the next one.
We're the lover's lip. We're the unsettled and lover's lip.
Lower lip. It says lower lip.
It says lover's lip.
It says lower lip.
Just think, I do all this research. He gives us question marks. Subscribe.